We at Bluguitar truly believe that the revolutionary nanotube technology will become the tube technology of the 21st century. You think that sounds a bit too confident? Well, let's see what our users have to say.
Very nice, very nice.
It's really changed my sound, and sound is everything.
And this is the weapon of choice in every situation.
It's a preamp and a power amp, tube-driven by this nanotube.
I don't like fake tubes, I like real tubes. This is just a baby tube.
And you can hear it, you can feel it. It feels like just a regular tube amp.
I can take this thing, you put it in your purse, you can slip it right in your gig bag, it's that small.
It's 100 watts and it weighs nothing. It's loud.
Honestly, it is ridiculously loud.
And tone for days, and options for days, and possibilities for days.
It's made a difference to me, you know, and I'm just so happy to say that from a jazz perspective.
Right.
It's just the best amp I've ever had anyway.
It sounds massive. I love it. You know.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking metal, right?
I have the amp wall, I have the switcher. I want to find out how close I can get with my amp one with the new Mercury edition.
I switched already 3 times.
Okay, I could absolutely not detect any difference. And that's a $3,000 amp.
Seeing what you guys are doing was like a dream come true, man.
It is just the most revolutionary amplifier design that's ever come on planet Earth.
But yes, this is a real amp, and actually it sounds pretty damn good.
Bluguitar!
Geht's los? Hi there, this is my first live stream with Bluguitar. We call this the Academy of Tone. Academy of Tone, I've done a few seminars in the past, clinics, workshops, where I was talking about the tone in general and guitar playing. So this is a new format that we like to present as a stream. And first, hello to everybody here internationally. You all know I'm German, ich kann Deutsch sprechen, but this time we want to be international, so I do it in English. And welcome you all on the other side of the globe and wherever you are. Hello everybody, this is episode 200. Now we have seen episode 1 and episode 200. What a journey, only talking about Academy of Tone, but we are celebrating 10 years of Bluguitar tonight, and it's been a great ride, a very big chunk of my life that I dedicated to Bluguitar, my own brand, my own products with almost no compromise. And in this episode I want to talk about the company, the products from my point of view. It's a very personal thing, and it's actually, it happens so fast, you know. It's like, it feels like the whole thing just started like a year or so ago, but it's actually 10 years. And while preparing this episode, I was a little bit emotionally torn between different feelings. Like, man, 10 years flying by so fast. On the other hand, I was a bit proud of what we actually achieved. And also thinking back about some heavy obstacles we had, nobody knows besides us. And of course, tons of fun moments. So for me, Bluguitar was a decision in my life, what to do with the rest of my life after, you know, being in the industry, working for other companies and being the hired gun guitar player for, you know, a bunch of bands and doing the session work. And suddenly I came up with the idea to do my thing. To do my thing in music. That started a bit earlier already. I would say this was around 2000. And then the whole Bluguitar thing started to grow with the 2000s, and then 2010-ish, 9 already. I was already working on Bluguitar behind the scenes. Nobody knew that. And then in 2014, on the 1st of February, I was registering the company Bluguitar GmbH, the German GmbH, and we had nothing at that time, just a registration. I had a bunch of prototypes that I have finalized before, and I didn't tell people much about it. I just told the people, Frankfurt show, which was exactly 10 years ago now. I think it was the 13th or so of March 2014. Come to the Frankfurt show, which was the biggest show back then. It was already on the decline, but it was still a huge show. It was maybe bigger than NEM still at that time, but I told people, come to that show and you will see the surprise. And the first thing I was showing was a picture of me being in my living room, standing on 1 square meter stage with a carpet and the AMP1 with no details, telling people, come to the show and see what time it is. So yeah, this was the announcement that I have done like the day or 2 days before the show. I will do my own thing. I was pointing at Bluguitar. I had the one shirt. I had a Bluguitar already. And that little thing that we now know as the AMP1 was sitting on that little 1 square meter stage. And I was lucky because my dear friends of Vintage or JHS in the UK, they gave me that 1 square meter stage on their booth. And I had a lot of people lining up to see me play my new toy, which is of course the AMP1. And at that show, we had tons of people being interested. We started to get dealers. We started to get, you know, we started from scratch. And there were, of course, some of my friends, Thijs van Leer, you know, the Dutch organ player that also plays the flute from my band, from the Thomas Blug band, was there. Oops, let me show you this DVD. Yeah, and there's yeah, we have a nice picture of that show when we when I had my stage on the table with Thijs and Raoul, I think. Aha, here we go, Raoul Wharton. And we had those drinks. See, this is the Bluguitar Apfelschorle. Looks like an energy drink, but it's not. Looks pretty cool, the logo is cool. So this was the first important appearance of Bluguitar in public. And behind the scenes there was also my dear friends Trevor Wilkinson, Andreas Kloppmann, that made that guitar here. And yeah, this was the real starting point. And when we are looking back at the AMP1 now, it was a revolutionary product back then because people didn't believe this was a real amp. So, you know, coming with a small box that weighs 1.2 kilograms, claiming to have 100 watts tube sound was not really possible in people's minds. So my job was trying to convince people that this is a real amp. Watch my first video where I introduced the AMP1. It's a short introduction clip of that, not the whole thing. So you just mind the words that I was using. Check it out. Hi, I'm Thomas Blug. I'm a professional guitar player and amp designer from Germany. I played many different gigs in my life. The smallest one was probably a birthday gig in a living room in front of 5 people. And my biggest gig was opening act of Michael Jackson in front of 100,000 people back in the days. As amp designer, I've done some nice tube pedals. Some of them are used by my heroes. I've done some transistor amps, some modeling, and also some boutique tube amps using 13 tubes in one amplifier. For my studio, I have a nice collection of some good old vintage stuff, some Marshalls, some Fenders, some Voxes. Today I play many different gigs with my band, mainly in town halls, some blues clubs, outdoor festivals. I do flying gigs, and I had a dream of an amplifier that is smaller than anything you've ever seen before. But it should still have the tonal quality of what I'm used to play. I wanted to have an amp that fits into your gig bag, that I can plug in anywhere in the world, that also can be used directly on the pedal board. So with this kind of setup, I have less cabling. I just have one pedal board and the amp, all the effects are there, and it's a power lead and a guitar lead, and I'm done. I can take a small cabinet or a big cabinet, and it depends on the size of the venue I play, and I'm done. And now this dream became real. It's called AMP1 by Bluguitar. 4-channel 100-watt tube amp power. Yeah, that was the starting point. And when you look back at the press, I found some press from 2014. What's happening at the Frankfurt show? And it's in German, but they said Fender presents the Stratocaster, which was the 60th birthday. And by the way, now we have the 70th birthday of the Stratocaster. I will do a special episode on that one as well. And I was the winner of the European Strat King Awards. You can see in the background over there. Where's my finger? There. This way. Okay, this is the Strat King Award. Which was, again, 10 years before that, which was 2004. Man, time flies. This was 20 years ago. But anyway, so this was happening. Fender was releasing a few with the theme of past, present, future. So same old, I would say, but it's nothing wrong about a Stratocaster. I still love my Strat, and maybe you too. And this is the same with AMP1. I think AMP1 is already 10 years old, but it's still a fresh, hip product, which I found out today again, because one of Germany's biggest band's guitar players called me up and finally believes that an AMP1 is the real deal. Took 10 years, and he was convinced by a lot of other colleagues. I'm not mentioning names here, but it's like now they are thinking about maybe I can replace my boutique amp with an AMP1 or maybe two, and use that on the next stadium tour. See, it takes 10 years, and I was telling the story already 10 years ago, but it was not fully understandable or believable because it was too advanced, too new. Just quoting the press here, slightly surprising, I'm translating, that Thomas Blug was not playing HK demos, but it was relatively easy to understand because he was demonstrating his new AMP1, blah blah blah, and then a few description of that. So this AMP1 on the show was the first big boom. We were collecting pre-orders, which is kind of the same thing we are doing right now with the AmpX. 10 years, you know, it's all déjà vu. When you're older, you have those déjà vus, and it's like, okay, I've been there before. And we have the same dilemma. 2014, we were showing the AMP1, but we didn't have product. The product was a few for Christmas, and the rest was following in January 2015. So that's similar with AmpX, guys, just to let you know. So let me explain why things take so long. Because looking back at AMP1, you have to understand AMP1 was shown in 2014, but you know, there was a lot of AMP1 in my world going on before that. And it actually started in 2010 in Karlsruhe, where I recorded this CD and live CD and live DVD with my Hendrix project. And you can see that picture where you can see my Marshall, and on top of that Marshall there is a big plastic box, maybe 40 centimeters wide. You can see that on the left side of the picture. That's, by the way, the vintage channel of the AMP1 that already existed in standard components in the year 2010, being used in combination with my Black Flag 100 watt Marshall that I used on that gig. If you look at the microphones, there are several microphones, so the signal was splitted and I was using both signals to get my tone on that live DVD. And I think it's pretty good because Marshall rules and the vintage channel rules, and it already did in 2010. This is when I knew the AMP1 can do something real. The next thing after having this experience of there's a sound and there's a new technology, and I'm not using big tubes and stuff, and I can equally have the same feel and sound like my real deal super Black Flag Marshall, which is just sitting behind me here over there. I was starting to think about, you know, Bluguitar and Bluguitar AMP1 and how to get that new idea in the world so that people would believe it. I start with advertising ideas. So there was like a few things that never have seen the public eye, but this was my internal, well, brainstorm how to communicate the idea of such a product. We have a few of those we can see. See, this is like amps, a new chapter in tube amp history, okay? And Nanotube 100 and the Rocket. All your classic tones in modern format, no? And when you look at the housing, you can see ugly knobs and a very interesting spoiler, which later has been reduced. So this was not the finished product, but you can see there's already a lot of AMP1 there, visuals. So, but you know, it's kind of a step-by-step process. Then you see the timeline here from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, and blah blah blah. This kind of here are the final knobs then to be seen. Do we have any more? I don't know. Yeah, the evolution, revolution, yeah, blah blah blah. Everybody used that. It's not so innovative, but it is what it is. So I was playing with the themes. Yeah, and here we actually have one of the early stages of AMP1. This was the first giggable 3 or actually 4 channel incarnation. Honestly, tubeless, no tube, but a peace sign. How important that peace sign is today, 10 years later. Yeah, and you know what? I think it still plays. Let's try. Oh, by the way, we have some cool things here we talk about later. Let's see if this works. So. It's not that bad, right? A little lousy on the classic and modern channel, but the vintage channel. Huh? Okay, we can compare this with the final product. That's a Mercury. Okay, I guess there's a little bit more quality because this has the nanotube and this has the full 100 watts and this is like what it became. But, you know, I think this prototype still shows that we had something special even back then. Wait a minute, where's my... by the way, I have more prototypes. So that's this little fellow. I don't know how many grams, but this is like nothing. It's only 50 watts, but killer. No? Still works, hand built. And once you achieve that level, I came to the point that I decided, you know, let's go all the way, don't compromise. This was before the decision to make my own company. This was just for myself to prove myself if that kind of technology is actually doing what I was expecting it to do. So you have to go through phase 1. Phase 2 over here, can we put, I put it over here. So this looks a lot more like the AMP1 that we know now, because it has the tube. It is bigger. It's the full 100 watts. It has the custom controls, everything. But that prototype had a few issues. One is that the distance from the foot switches to the knobs was too close. So this was the end of my design skills. And then I called somebody who is one of the best designers in the industry for like housings and stuff. And he finalized the whole thing. With me, of course, because I was not so happy about the spoiler. I was not so happy about those silver synthesizer knobs. And I was fighting for more guitar feel for that. But this is how a great collaboration evolves. It's like going back and forth and back and forth. So this was the second, or actually the third generation. The first one was what you have seen on the Blug Plays Hendrix live concert. No design at all, just a technical thing. Then that little white boy, and then the black boy. Okay, that was all leading up to getting a real AMP1. And once this AMP1 was out, and of course I was at the show trying to get customers and sales, I had to get the whole thing into production. And I started with a German company, but I have a few pictures of the Chinese factory, and there you can see it's a next level and a big challenge to get the whole thing into production. So I was of course playing some music to excite the workers. They were Chinese, they had no clue what to do. They were simply like, maybe a smile here and there, which was funny. But on a technical level, the whole thing was, this was the testing machine. The testing machine is super important because every parameter of an AMP1 has to be tested, and everything is in a tolerance specification. So if any of these values is exceeding a certain range, we don't accept it, and it goes back, or it simply is never shipped. And that's so important because quality control is very important. And this testing machine, of course, was also designed from our side. So we make sure that everything is what we want. There is no surprise. I mean, people talk about China production. Well, if you control them and if you put them on a very short leash, you get the best results, even better than in Germany. I made that experience because the Germans are too creative. They have probably a wider knowledge, but they start to be creative and to be more artistic, which is great in the designing process, but not in the manufacturing process. If you are on the manufacturer side, you want consistency, you want reliability, and you want to have stable processes. And this is something this country and their culture is actually good for. So I see benefits there, because some of the stuff might seem to be stupid, but it's good for quality. So anyway, this was this kind of step here. This was basically what was happening in 2014. So having all these things before AMP1, the Frankfurt show, releasing the AMP1, getting them manufactured in good quality, and then that was the year 2014. In 2015, I was showing the cabinets, because at the show 2014, I had something funny. I will show you. It's actually an AMP1 combo, and that AMP1 combo, let me check if this still works. This is all old stuff, but so okay, I get a cable and I plug this into the speaker socket. Speaker, logo, look at this. So the AMP1 with the speaker out is powering the logo. That's also pretty cool. Never used that, but yeah, it was one of my ideas. The next thing is, this is something I stole from AmpX with the flip top. Here is your AMP1. Ta-da! Okay, this way. So this can be then put on top of this, like here, and close it, and then this is your combo. It's a neat idea, but honestly, looks cool, sounds not too bad, but the real combination, or the combination of a real Nanocab and the AMP1 sounds better. And I'm all about tone and then innovation. So if the tone is better the other way around, I decide, hey guys, you get your floor amp or your pedal amp, AMP1, and you use a Nanocab as it is. And I will do an episode on the cabinets in 2 weeks. I'm planning that, and then I can show you what actually is happening, how to get a Nanocab sound out of a speaker and what the steps are. And it's quite astonishing when you hear the speaker in the standard housing and then what I have done in the Nanocab housing to make the whole thing sound like it sounds. And therefore this kind of concept was a compromise and never has seen this after that show. But in 2015, we as Bluguitar released the Nanocab and the Fatcab. There's a little video, check this out. Hello, I'm Thomas Blug, and I'd like to introduce the new Bluguitar cabinets. There's the smallest 1x12 cabinet, the so-called Nanocab, and we have a lot of 4x12 tone in a 1x12 format in the Fatcab. Yeah, this was the first introduction of Nanocab and Fatcab. I'm personally the biggest fan of the Fatcab still up until today, and still today people get excited about it when they discover a Fatcab. Jude Gold in the US, I mean, okay, first thing when he had to do the fly gigs, he remembered me, and then he thought maybe I give AMP1 a try. So the first thing, he was getting to the next level from what he knew, and he is a killer guitar player from Jefferson Starship, editor of American Guitar Player magazine, killer guitar player. And so for him it was a challenge to leave his beloved tube amps and switch to an AMP1. And once he has been on tour with that, yeah, he's using it even more often and more often and more often. And just this year at NAMM, or after NAMM, when I met him, he told me, man, what is that thing about your Fatcab? Or you always rave about that Fatcab. And I said, you know what, simply try it. And then he got one of the Fatcabs, and his answer was very exciting, because he said, you know, it sounds so much more balanced than the Mesa and whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying anything else, but he was so happy. He said, the sound is so warm, the sound is so big, the sound is so nicely spread in the room, just killer. So he is a big, big, big fan of that Fatcab now. And other friends of mine, like Alex Beirut, who is playing a bit harder and discovered the Iridium edition one day for himself. And then he asked me, I'm a 4x12 guy, and is it really working? And then I said, yeah, give it a try. Just simply give it a try. And then by now, he's totally convinced. And by the way, he just called me this afternoon about the BluBOX. He was using the Universal Audio aux box for a long time with his tube amps and the AMP1. So this was the first step. He came from the good old Marshalls with the aux box, and then he used the Iridium. For him, it was even better than the Marshalls, and he was still using the aux box. And now he was on tour with the BluBOX, and even the sound guy, he told me, said they tried to mic up his cabinets, and the miking wasn't sounding as good as the BluBOX. So anyway, what I try to say here is it takes a lot of convincing for innovations to be accepted. And that's part of what I do here. I have to talk about why you can trust this. And of course, it's a matter of taste. And I'm not saying these amps are the only good sounding amps or blah, blah, blah. No. But they offer something unique in a very unique format. And they are designed to be used in modern days under modern certain situations. This is where you find yourself. And this is what I have in mind, and I try to find solutions for this reality of today. And this is what you can see in these products. Okay, so in 2015 we introduced the Nanocab and the Fatcab, and later the year we had the Remote. The Remote One, the programmable foot controller, that is currently on hold because we want to make an update for the AmpX. Sorry guys, the AmpX takes longer, so we have to wait for that to finish. and then this will come back as a remote, probably X, that does both control your AMP1 and your AmpX and whatever Bluguitar will build in the future. And the funny thing here is, look at one of my prototypes of the AMP1 adapter. This is actually version 2. Version 1 was a square, like a pedal, like, you know, a normal foot pedal, because inside that side of the MIDI 1 adapter is a MIDI interface, and it's used with small components. So this was incarnation 1, and this is where we are now, getting even smaller. Okay, so I'm all about as small as possible, and yeah, this was, I think, released at the same time to use the MIDI functionalities of AMP1 and yeah, Remote 1. We have a little video about the Remote 1, so watch this. Hi, I'm Thomas Blug with Bluguitar, and now I'd like to show you the Remote 1. Remote 1 is the programmable foot pedal for AMP1. It gives you direct access to all the switching functionalities, plus it's MIDI and it's programmable. Yeah, and it didn't stop there, because the Remote 1 gives you access to all these parameters and makes the AMP1 a programmable guitar amp. We also brought the looper kit, which makes the Remote 1 a, well, pedal switcher and remote for the AMP1 system. There's a little video, watch that. Hi, I'm Thomas Blug, and now I would like to show you the Looper Kit. Looper Kit is the extension for the Remote 1 foot controller. The Remote 1 foot controller has direct access to all switching functionalities and some sound functionalities to make the AMP1 a programmable amplifier system. In the combination of these two, you can have great presets, but once you want to have some nice little analog pedals which give you some whatever compression, overdrive, boosters and phasers, whatever, combined to your system, it's time to have a loop switching system, because it will keep the signal path short, which increases the sound quality and makes tap dance a thing of the past. Yeah, so this was getting the system kind of complete. The system now was AMP1, Remote 1, Looper Kit, or AMP1, MIDI 1, and some other MIDI controller that was offering a lot. And by the way, hey, thanks for all the comments here in the posts. It's unbelievable. I see a question. I have a Remote 1. Will it work with AmpX? Actually, it will, yes. And it will give you a lot of preset buttons. So it's pretty cool to use the Remote 1 also with the AmpX, and as you can see, it's designed to be combined. It's the same with, it's hard to show with the camera here, but they go together quite nicely. No? And there is a on the bottom of AmpX, there is a very strong mechanism that we can use for attaching other units like a Remote 1 or the future version, the Remote X, that is more specified. for that. And yeah, and thanks for all these birthday wishes I can see in the comments here and on social media. Hey man, guys, it's so good. I received one from Ben Granfeld. Watch it, it's too good.
Hi Thomas, Ben Granfeld here from Finland. You made my life so easy. Happy 10th anniversary. Blugams, Iridium not here, but it should be there. It's on testing. I'll be on the road in September with my band and in November with you, Thomas. Better learn your parts. Happy anniversary, Matt.
Hey guys, so if you have some special video ideas or anything interesting, yeah, go ahead, do a video, do a clip, do a picture, tag Bluguitar, and we are happy to share. We are Bluguitar family. This brings me back to Bluguitar family. We are family over here, no? Yeah, and the code. Unbelievable. For me, what happened over the last 10 years, I see people that I know personally, Heiko and Helmut, and it's really family feeling now. So yeah, it's so great. And I was thinking about 10 years. I'm not that kind of a birthday specialist, and it's not my kind of things. Awards and all that stuff is. I rather do my thing and play and work. But 10 years is something. And then we were talking in the companies, with the others, and we thought, you know what, we still should do something special. And so over the whole year, we will have specials on whatever, T-shirts and anything. We make this a special year. And of course, AmpX will be super special as the icing on the cake. But we have something that we can show you. This is the see-through Iridium. There will be probably a limited version of these because they are so cool. Yeah, for those who have never seen what's inside an AMP1, you can see now. You can see it now. You can we have the and see here's the knobs. And let me play something so you can see. Can we see? Maybe you notice here these LEDs that light up, and some people think when I'm on the clean channel we have something weird going on. Is it blowing up? No, it's just something totally natural. And now you can see inside. Yeah, this is a special version of the Iridium edition. And next to it we can see a special version of the Mercury edition in a kind of blue. I think that was a record by Miles Davis. Oh, I need a... Anyway, so this is that special look of the Mercury edition, and this is the one of the Iridium edition. So specials are coming up. Not everything is finally decided, but yeah. And for those who didn't hear it, our dear colleague Julian Preuß just entered the room. Yeah, because he's bored. Yeah. Say hi.
Hi.
Good. So, yeah, usually he's not here, but yeah, we had no camera because we used it in the company. So he brought us a camera. That helps when you do video streaming. Okay, let's go back to the history. In 2016, one of the other big things was the BluBOX. The BluBOX, as we know it now, that looks blue. And this is actually one of the first prototypes that has been, well, kind of spray on, hand painted by myself. You know, you can see the lacquer is not too professional. It's not too bad. And the print shop did a local company. So this is a prototype that has a two-way switch only, high and low. So this was not finalized. But even before such a finalized product, there are steps before that. And where's my mobile phone? Did I put it somewhere? Maybe. Anyway, doesn't matter. I have, because I know where I have my original drawings of the BluBOX. This little tricky box of tricks is also a BluBOX. That's something we were using on the stage, so nobody could tell that we used a BluBOX because it looked like an AMP1 packaging, and it was not, because it had real sockets built in and a power cord. And now look inside that packaging here. Zip. And what you can find is a few PCBs. Well, one digital PCB, which is the green one over there, this way. And this is kind of the IR loader section of it. And then this brown piece, which is the analog. Wait a minute, I'll show you a bit more, because there is more. That's the analog section of the BluBOX that is responsible for, yeah, there's a balanced transformer for balanced out, all that stuff. So that's kind of the mic position control and so on. So this is how things are developed. We start somewhere and they become smaller and smaller. Yeah, I see Ben Grenfeld in the chat. He wants a blue Mercury. Okay, same as, and this is the guitar that Ben already played a couple of times when he was killing his strings. A typical Ben Grenfeld moment is when he's going wild, he kills strings. I don't know. That's him. Too much energy, Ben. Yeah, and they actually look how they match. Look, can we have the overhead camera? Okay, let's. This is kind of a nice set, huh? These two. Yeah. This brings me to another aspect of Bluguitar. We have a few Bluguitars out there, but never what I was hoping to get. You know, the Bluguitars are still kind of handmade. The first ones were made by Trevor Wilkinson, and now they are made by Andreas Kloppmann and their teams. It's not one guy alone, but one guy is responsible. So Trev or Andreas is responsible. And then we get a few guitars because these people are artists and they are very busy. They have other things to do, and I'm very glad that they spent their time making a few of these guitars. On the other hand, it's not on that production level or scale It's not the quality. The quality is totally fine. It's amazing. I really like what they are doing, but we don't have the volume that we have with AmpX because it's not properly mass produced, and that's something. When I was thinking back about Bluguitar being 10 years old and having a Bluguitar for 10 years now, my dream was always to offer you guys such a guitar so that everybody could potentially buy one. But it's not possible because there's a pre-order list and it's handmade, and the question is who is dying first, the customer or one of the makers? But thinking about the project, I will put more energy into this project to get the Bluguitars on the market. Next year, I will push this because I'm totally convinced about the quality now. I mean, yeah, anyway, some of those guitars are so good I don't sell them. It's hard for me, yeah. And I have to get another one that I can get another one go that is even better. But yeah, quality is there. We know the recipe. I know exactly what I want. I just don't have a stable manufacturing process. And I don't push a button without having that control. Otherwise, we get a lot of guitars, but they're all shit. Or some of them are great, but most of them will be shit. And this is what I don't want. Ah, Lex has a Bluguitar master build. Yes, I know. And I know that guitar. It sounds very good. And I know even the neck is one of those special necks. Anyway, okay, we were talking about the BluBOX. We haven't seen the video yet. Let's check out the video of the introduction of the BluBOX, what it is. Hi there, I'm Thomas Blug and I'm here to show you the new BluBOX VC. The BluBOX VC is a professional speaker simulator using the latest convolution technology to get authentic sounds of mic'd up cabinets. As a professional musician in the studio and touring, I put together a huge collection of good sounding cabinets, microphones and amplifiers. I chose 16 of my favorite settings to put into the BluBOX VC. Yeah, there you can see my cabinet collection, and that collection ended up in the BluBOX. And yeah, it became a classic. Unfortunately, we don't have massive manufacturing anymore because the chip is a problem to get. Good news is we'll get some more in probably a few weeks. I'm talking about 4 weeks, probably. So if you still want your BluBOX, go to our German web shop and we try to make you happy. We cannot sell through dealers anymore because sourcing this chip is becoming so expensive. There is no extra money to make. So if you don't have a BluBOX, try to get one from the next batch because that might be the last one. Not easy. So we are talking about 2016. 2017, well, there was some news about cabinets again, because we came up with the idea of, or I came up with the idea, the cabinets is a very ego thing for me, because it's low tech and lots of experimentations. I was having comments about Nanocab and Twincab that people were dared to play a 1x12 cabinet. I cannot move from a 4x12 to 1x12. The step is too big for them. Well, then I thought, you know what, let's do a 2x12 and make this a clever cabinet. And looking into 2x12 cabinets, I found there are some great sounding 2x12 cabinets, but they are way too big, they're way too heavy, and they are not flexible in a way. So what I have done is I took the idea of making a lightweight, compact, big sounding cabinet that can be used vertical and horizontal. Horizontal and vertical, the other way around. So, and this gives you more options tone-wise. When you put it horizontal, you connect the speakers to the floor. You have a lot more bass, and if you have it vertical, you have more mids because only one speaker is connected to the floor and the other one is high up in the air. It depends what you prefer. I'm more the kind of, I put it on the floor type of guy because I usually play in 3-piece bands more often than I play with other guitar players. Exception for Ben, but we both play Fatcabs. We don't need twin cabs. We have twin guitars. That's all it takes. With 2 Fatcabs, it's too loud. So no need for a twin cab. But in 2017, I thought it is a good idea to expand the range of the cabinets from the Nanocab, Fatcab to the Twincab. I'm not getting any bigger than 2x12. My promise. Why? Because I believe it's not needed. And if it's needed, then stack 2 of those or buy a Marshall cab. I mean, there's millions of Marshall cabs sitting somewhere and they sound good because they have been my reference. Get an old one and be happy. Some of the old ones are crazy expensive, but you can probably also get good Marshall cabinets for cheap if that's what you need. Yeah, there's a little video of the cabinets in 2017. Yeah, so that was the Twincab. The same year, 2017, I started with my first ideas of that little thing that is now an AmpX and was an AMP1, or did it have a name back then? I don't know. Had one, or yeah, there were several studies, so to speak. in March 2017. You can see it's already kind of showing that idea and the direction, but this was combining the BluBOX, some effects, and yeah, basically I would call this an AMP2. It would be an AMP1 with more options and a built-in BluBOX, making it programmable. So this is how things are starting, and this was the year where I was hiring Julian, who is actually working in the background here. He enjoys listening to stuff while he's working, also in his office when he's writing software, which he is now for AmpX. He sometimes listens to other things, and he's not distracted for some reason. I don't know, unless we call his name. Okay, so studies are going on, and then every year. So this is the AMP2 study with more foot switches. You know, all that stuff that I'm doing when I'm thinking. See, this is getting pretty serious. This is a 3D plastic printout of what is now, or here you can see it maybe better, the black plastic. Yeah, things like that. So slowly but surely, the picture of the next big thing came to mind and was getting bigger and bigger, and the expectations from what it could do were also getting bigger and bigger and bigger, while we were doing other things, because we were releasing the AMP1 Mercury edition. The AMP1 Mercury edition was like the second incarnation of the AMP1, which is now Silver Edition. And there's nothing wrong about a Silver Edition. We have people fighting over which one is the better one. Some people don't mind. Other people are true fans of the first edition, the Silver Edition. Some people totally prefer the Mercury Edition. But this was what came to the market in 2018. My short description of it is like, it's definitely an improved reverb. We don't have to talk or discuss that. I prefer the Mercury reverb. On the sound side, I'm super happy with the Silver Clean channel. I'm happy with both amps personally, and I still like the modern channel on the Silver, even though it's quite special, and some people would go, "Ooh, what is this? Is a little bit vintage muddy, or what is it?" But I like it, and this is why I was releasing the Silver as it is, or as it was. But I was listening to the market, to other players, and that made me decide to have a revoiced AMP1, which became the Mercury edition. We have a little clip, let's show that. After 3 years on the market with the AMP1, I decided to have the Mercury edition. Well, this is exactly the same amp, the same platform. It's just like one of those classic amps using the real analog components, capacitors, resistors. I got some feedback from the market and from players. Everybody is very, very happy about AMP1, but some of the harder players, like metal guys and hard rock players, they want to have a bit more tightness in the amps. I spent a lot of time getting these thoughts into a new version of AMP1, which still has the same quality of the traditional AMP1 as it is,
but has a bit more range towards the modern tones.
Yeah, so Mercury was a cool thing because some people thought, oh, I didn't like the first one, maybe I can try the second version of this amp. And they could make up their mind again and maybe came up with a different opinion. Sometimes I notice that it's more that people have to understand the amp and the settings of the amp, how to dial in the stuff, because it's different from classic amps. It's similar, but it's also different. So you have to understand the amp one, and with that second incarnation of amp one, it was easier to access a lot of people because it's more normal and not too special, but there's a quality in being special, which doesn't mean that the Mercury is not special. It is easier accessible and still special. So I'm happy with both, but I was playing the Mercury since it was out, and yeah, we have done a lot of marketing and spreading the news. I mean, AMP1 in magazines all over the place. I don't know, Italian, German, and whatever, English. We got awards. We already got some awards before that, but it was, it was part of the journey to continue spreading the news. Even 18, which was 4 years past the release, the AMP1 was still a fairly unknown product for the majority of guitar players. Maybe somebody heard something, but it was not even in the zone for them to try it out. And therefore I was pushing a lot to spread the news. Hey, this is AMP1, this is AMP1, and try it again. Because I learned that a lot of people didn't get it at first glance. Yeah, and here you can see China. I was going to trade shows, I was going to play with bands, I played tours. This is my rock arcade with Harold Faltermeier in Munich. Axel F. That's Harold Faltermeier, yeah. He came to our gig, and I had my rock anarchy with Mick Rogers, the guitar player from Manfred Mann's Earth Band, killer player and singer. This is my UK rock anarchy with Gavin Coulson and Tim Gillespie, and we played everywhere where there was a power outlet, in the smallest music store or pub. But it was fun, it was pushing and simply demonstrating people. And this is Tony Carey, with my again rock anarchy here in Germany, and with my beloved pedalboard. I think we have a pedalboard picture when it was new and clean. I changed a few things, like the Reusenszene, which is kind of on the top middle, was not used anymore with the Mercury edition. I used it with the first edition because it did something to my tube amps before that I liked, and that worked fine on the silver edition, so to speak. But on the Mercury, it stayed on the board, but it was not used anymore. And I exchanged that yellow compressor for the small footprint version for Moore, I think that was. The rest is the same. Yeah, and that trusty pedalboard is now retired for, the new prototype AmpX that I'm playing. Yeah, and we've been touring, all the years with. And here, by the way, Rick Beato doing trade shows. I've been at his home, and you know, it's all about getting the word spread and getting people to understand and know things. Yeah, but also here, this is Daryl Jones, bass player with the Rolling Stones, but also he's a guitar player, and yeah, this was also like a long time ago. By now we met again, and here it's Jennifer Batten. She was the first AMP1 user, so I invited her also to play with us, the Rock Anarchy. And in the background you can see Mel Gaynor on drums. So they all, yeah, were playing with us, and Uli John Roth. And on the right you can see Phil X filming us, Uli and myself. Yeah, I mean, Phil, killer guitar player, but so cool. The Italian from Iron Maidens, or what was sorry, Deep Purple. What's her band? Italian killer. Deep Purple tribute band. Anyway, she just showed up, and of course, playing AMP1. I played AMP1. I plugged her in AMP1, and the rest, everybody was happy. No problem. Yeah. So tons of things and YouTubers and getting awards. This was, I don't know. Even this is our current ministry lady of the Saarland. She wasn't, when she gave me the prize, she was not so important. Now she's #1 in our state. Anke. Danke, Anke, for the prize. Yeah, so that's all going on. And then 2019, we had another very big thing coming out, which was the AMP1 Iridium edition. And the AMP1 Iridium edition, I knew it was an amp that I definitely wanted to do, because it was expanding the tonal palette from the classic tones that I personally play so much, into that more modern territory for humbuckers, for, I would say, hair metal, and I'm totally, I was aware that I was good as a designer, but I needed people that are actually helping two things: the design, to double check and prove that what I had in mind is actually fitting for them, because I can use those sounds, sure, but I'm not playing those sounds every night myself. And I wanted to have that quality, so I teamed up with tons of people behind the scenes, including Frank Fleckenstein and a lot of people, to be sure that what I was doing is actually what they need and what they want. And I was a little bit shocked when we came out with the AMP1 Iridium that I didn't get feedback in a way like usually I get criticism a lot. It's like, yeah, the Mercury is pretty good, but the Silver had this and la la la, all this kind of discussion. And I asked, hey guys, what's going on with the amp? I said, no, it's killer, it's killer. It's like everybody was happy, but they had no complaints. I'm used to get feedback in the form of a complaint or at least a discussion. And these guys were simply happy. And I was kind of a bit shocked because it was like too quiet for what I was experiencing in the past. So anyway, it seemed to work. The first video that we did for the release, I wanted to show you with Frank Fleckenstein. Watch this. Hello, this is Thomas Blug with Bluguitar, and this is the AMP1
Iridium edition.
It's a 100 watt nanotube amp that has 4 discrete channels and all the features that you would expect from a boutique amp.
It is specifically designed for the modern metal player who needs a compact, travel-friendly, yet powerful and versatile amplifier with lots of gain and a tight low end.
Yeah, so that was the release, and there was a strange feeling for me, but it was all positive. But it was like, I'm used to more criticism. Hey, by the way, I'm reading the chats here. Horst Keller. Hi, Horst. Gratuliere. Yeah, thank you, Horst. And then there's somebody, Patrick, auch von, they all know each other. Horst is a very famous German guitar instructor. And he used to be the demonstrator of Line 6. And yeah, we are all family, Musikmesse and industry people family, which is so great. Ah, and I see the Strange Kind of Woman is the band of Elina Curla, Italian, fuck. I'm so bad. Sorry for getting Cagnuti. Cagnuti. Elena Cagnuti. Canuli? Cannelloni. Yeah, pasta. Grazie. No, she's a killer player and a killer singer as well, and a great entertainer. It was so fun. I didn't know her, and we just had fun. Yeah, going back to the Iridium edition, working with a lot of people that are usually not in my zone, I made the experience that it's great to talk to metal guys and people which I usually don't have in my, well, friend zone. And for me, certain videos or certain reactions were just killer. And out of this reaction from the sound, friendships came along and were created. Watch the next video and I can explain what happened.
Holy shit, this thing really kicks out the volume. Like, this is really fucking cool.
This is the bad boy.
Are you kidding me? It's... okay. The tone, it really actually sounds pretty fucking awesome.
That is ultra precise. It's incredibly tight and there's no flubby bottom end.
The very last one was the Fryette, but I couldn't hear it until I did the overtone thing.
Yeah, okay.
It was the only discipline where I could hear that the very last tiny bit was the Fryette. Am I right?
Actually, no. Yeah, when you look at the people in this video, Euge, you know, we had no connection. This guy simply did his review on the AMP1 Iridium edition, and he's so authentic that I was shocked because he was shocked, and I could feel him. I could feel how honest this is. And now we are friends. I was at his place, and he came here, I think twice even, and we will have his bad boy, which is his go-to ever, JCM 800. Yeah, and I'm learning from these guys, and I'm, you know, it's a very, very, very good way how to make my world wider in all aspects, which is totally cool. Yeah, so to me, the Iridium, and by the way, the Iridium was also Alex Bayroth, who knew me for all my life. We have been on a vinyl CD. This was even pre-CD. This was on a vinyl record, long player, 33 whatever RPM or whatever that was called. When I was 14 and he was also 14 or 15 or whatever. And after all this year with Iridium, he called me and said, "Hey Thomas," and he was never using any of the products that I was designing in my whole entire life before that Iridium. "I think I have a problem." And I was like, oh, something must be broken. You know, it's like, scheiße. This is now, I'm expecting something really bad. And he goes, "I have a problem. This thing sounds better than my whole Marshall collection." I said, okay. And I mean, he is the heavy guy for me in town, and also very successful, just being on tour with Primal Fear and, you know, Rock Meets Classics and other big projects. Yeah, and he started to tell me how great my amp was. That was a reaction. So in the end, I would say the Iridium is as intense for me as the Mercury, but it had a little delay for the feedback to get back to me, which is okay, because the other guys I know, and they're on the phone 5 minutes after release. This is what it is. Yeah. So there we are, 2019, and as I told you, in 2017, 16 already, I was thinking about the next big thing. And then I thought, you know, what is coming up? A new decade, 2020. So I was ready to show the study, which was only my thoughts, a housing, and nothing that worked, no sound. And that was the AmpX. And I was choosing the name AmpX because it was not Amp1, you know, and 2, 3, 4. No, it was like a quantum leap. It was like the real big step. And it was probably a bit early, but just think back. The X became so important in the industry in general. Now we have social media called X. We have so many things called X. Even Friedman calls something X, and there's the Tone X. But I have the AmpX, and I have been there with the study at NAMM 2020, claiming that name and that concept to be Bluguitar. And that's something I knew even back then. I knew we are not ready, but it's the time to show that. This is why we showed it behind the glass. And it was actually a 3D printed model, which was nicely oversprayed with the paint from cars. And we had a few LEDs lighting up, but no sound and nothing. There was only my dream, the idea of the concepts, a few studies on different levels, conceptual levels, and maybe a few sound studies here and there, but nothing complete. But it was the right time, I thought, to show the world the next big thing. And there's the video for it. AmpX is all the best guitar amps ever made. All your favorite effects and cabinets. Fully programmable with lots of combinations. Fully analog amps and effects, plus the best of digital. AmpX. Yeah, here we go, AmpX. And if you look, wait a minute, is this camera? Yeah. Okay, if you look at the universe, this was my dream. And it's actually the dream that I had my whole entire life. It's like, get my fucking collection into one apparatus, into one box, always with me, you know? It started back in the last century with the Houston Kettner Tubeman to have something with me, which is this little boy. And that's kind of part of the story. It's like, get something that I feel home. Amp sounds that I can trust, that make me sound like I sound. And put them in your gig bag or wherever. You can travel with those. You are not depending on surprise amps. You know, it's like you are a rock guitar player and all you get is a Roland Jazz Chorus 120. Happened to me in Hawaii. And the overdrive of that Roland Jazz Chorus is about the worst thing ever. It sounds like, it doesn't get any worse than this. It's amazingly bad for what I need, you know? I mean, nowadays you get some decent overdrive pedals and with a few tweaks you can get something, but still, I think we all play better when we feel home, when we feel connected to our instrument and don't have to fight. And this was the dream. And then in the end, the AmpX is getting the whole entire room here in one box. And that concept is a very easy thought. But in detail, we spent years getting there, and it takes years to get there, to get the quality right. I mean, we could have released something, but we are not there yet. And we have a little graphic that I was showing in one of the episodes about the journey of AmpX. You know, you see AMP2 idea in 2016, you see Julian joined in 2017, and then there was the first prototype and the next one, and then there came Iridium, and we changed this and we changed that, and we had a next one and revision C and revision E, and you know, it's ongoing. I always say it's worth the wait. Why? Because I know what I'm doing, because I do it for decades. And I do it for the last 10 years, for the last decade with Bluguitar. Non-compromise. And I'm very thankful and happy that I have been doing that 27 years with Houston Kettner, without having the risk on my shoulders, but being able to gain experience in the industry, in the processes, in the designing processes, in the managing, and see how things are going. So my creed is, if I don't get it, who else could? I mean, I'm not saying there's other great people out there. There are great people. There are great digital guys out there. I mean, Fractal, for instance, is killer stuff on the digital domain, but I'm not 100% convinced about it for what I want. I want that extra feel connection with the guitar, and that I believe is only there with the analog. And this is why I'm so crazy to put all my time, money, and whatever effort into this project, Bluguitar, and getting to the results that I believe are the stuff that I always was dreaming about. And I don't stop. I stop when I'm happy with the results, or when somebody stops me because I would be bankrupt. So buy more Bluguitar products. This is good for the company, and this is good for the product quality. Anyway, it's worth the wait. You will find out. You could see my smile when I was playing the last version already. So I'm very, very happy with the sounds in my territory. And now it's kind of getting to the same situation when I had my Mercury edition with the experience of a silver Mercury. It's kind of several revisions on the AmpX, and now entering that other territory, Iridium, which we already did on the AMP1 platform, but it's like now we're doing the same thing on the AmpX platform, knowing AMP1 technology and things already. But you know, the real things come up when we are in the reality, and this is why it needs to be real, and this is why it takes its time. I'm reading a few comments here, and by the way, the project is massively ongoing every day. It's our full focus here, and it's probably something as a company, as a CEO, the guy that should know what to do. I'm doing things that are not focused on money, which I sometimes should do more, but I'm a player and designer by heart. So my first priority is always tone innovation, Bluguitar. That's the way I have it structured. And that's sometimes not so good for the bank account. But anyway, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. Yeah, with the AMP1s, every day I get fucking exciting emails from all around the globe about people discovering the AMP1. Even it never stops. Maybe you guys think, oh, it's so old, you know, we have seen AMP1s forever and it's nothing new. But every day I still get emails about, man, this thing is so great. I discovered blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, it is different, and it's not easy to believe, and this is why it takes so long. So that kind of long wave, or that long period, is something natural, and that's why I always said, or what I'm convinced about AmpX is the same thing. I'm thinking in decades. I'm not thinking in products and money and make AMP2 after AMP1 after 3 years because there's more cash to be made, because now we buy the 2 and now we buy the 3 and now we buy the 4 and then we buy the next one, and then the first ones have to be sold for lousy money. That's not my philosophy. For me, these amps have to become classics. For some people they are already. Time will tell, but I'm having this kind of mindset. This is designed to be with you guys for a longer time and not for a short run. So we have a few questions in the chat. I see Heiko, guitarist from a former band, didn't believe it as well until he burned his greenback with AMP1. Yeah, I mean, that's the 100 watts. That's an easy one. I have burned greenbacks with 100-watt tube amps and with AMP1. I knew that. But there's always an aspect about what people don't believe. It's like they don't believe that this is a full amp. Well, there's the speaker out. Yeah, but where's your amp? This is the speaker out. That's okay, one thing. Next thing is on the tonal side, it's like, yeah, but this thing doesn't sound like a tube amp. Well, how many A/B comparison videos have I done and other people? And now, after 10 years, it's okay to say it sounds as good as a tube amp because it has been proven, not only by myself, also by other people. So we are talking about sound quality only on a taste level, not on a tubes are better or nanotube or Bluguitar sounds are worse. I mean, we talk about I prefer blah 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 to blah 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 amps because I prefer their style of tone, but no, it's not the technology anymore. And yeah, so that's a different discussion these days. And wait a minute, I see more comments. Yeah, okay, tons of congratulations. Yeah, Mercury and BluBOX, first class products, blah blah, congrats. I get the feeling that the name AmpX is delivered from Roman number X10. Of course, because after 1 comes 10. This is when you make a big step, and this is what it is. I wasn't in for 2 anymore. Yeah, and somebody says more than 100 watts. By the way, this is true for the AMP1s. I'm always saying 100 because 100 means a lot. But I think the debate is over if it's 120 or 150 or 100. It's enough. And it sounds, this is the last comment that I just see here, it sounds and feels like a tube amp. Yeah, that's what's so important. And this is why we have chosen this kind of technology. The feel. I know a lot of products, they sound good, and this is okay, but it's not as inspiring. It's not, the feel is different. If you enjoy other feels, I'm happy for you guys. But for me, I'm old school. I'm so excited about that dynamic quality. By the way, this is a brand new Bluguitar. We still haven't done 61. This is 46. It's the latest one that I have. Brand new, fucking brand new guitar with a brand new amp, and it sounds like the old shit in the room, which is great. But I mean, there's my 61 Strat. Maybe a touch better, I'm honest. But if you don't have the A/B comparison, this guitar is also killer. But you have seen all my A/B comparisons on the amps, and this is where we are getting really close, up until the point where it's like identical, at least for most situations. So, yeah, what's going on? What's going on now is we are working on AmpX, and there was COVID, which was strange in a way. You know, communication with manufacturers and other things fall asleep, make things difficult. This is a lot of strange things happened in 21, 22, and then life came back mainly in 23. And I have to admit, I have moved house. We are now here in this video studio. If you have seen the first episode, which you can see on this episode at the very beginning, this was my old place, and I had to renovate or refurbish this place here, including the video studio, which benefits everybody, myself and of course you guys, because I have more gear next door, and that makes working in the video studio and in general nicer. And this is now in the basement, and the first when I started in my other place, this was like the second floor and a lot of stairs. So yeah, life has improved a little bit. So this is ongoing. On the other hand, yeah, our latest little toy in the family is the One Control, which is something that gives you access to the AMP1 features that you can't access with the built-in controls or knobs. You could though with a remote one, but you have to know that at this point we don't sell any new remotes because we have stopped manufacturing. On the other hand, it's a nice product. They can coexist because some people want the big thing with many knobs, with many switches, and can do whatever, the whole 9 yards with this combination AMP1 and remote one. And other people are totally happy to have a micro mini pedal and dial in the stuff that they can't get from the AMP1 itself, which is power soak, second master, second gain. There are tricks, we call them expert features, like low gain mode, that you can record with the AMP1 itself. But in the combination with this and an AMP1, you could program things that are next level, which makes an AMP1 a different animal, just with this little thing. Could also be done via MIDI. You know, I'm always telling about this in the Academy of Tones, and for those who still don't know it, in our Bluguipedia, we have that knowledge base with tons of articles and videos about things on our products. And Bluguipedia will also be the platform that AmpX knowledge will be transferred. That's super important. Maybe I can tell you my vision for the future. AmpX is a very complex product, and one already is new and needed a lot of communication. And therefore, we created the Bluguipedia platform to have a knowledge base where you can find 24/7 answers to the most asked questions. So you don't have to go and be in the Facebook, wait for somebody, or search for some article that was written last year. So on our Bluguipedia knowledge base, you can find it anytime. Just type in MIDI and you will get all the MIDI shit. What is control change? What is program change? How does it work? How to make connections? You can get things like how many options you have with AMP1, the 5 options of switching. You can program the internal foot switches, blah, 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 blah. This is all, it's more than an instruction manual. It's also incorporating the experience by users. When I write an instruction manual It's my vision, how I see it, but I get feedback from the users, and this is kind of a more modern way to put this on Blugipedia as our knowledge base. And so that will be the platform that you should get information about our products, because they are controlled and they are double checked, and these are hopefully the most valuable informations, so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of taste things, which I totally understand. Somebody likes that better than something else, but then we try to get a more neutral view and rewrite things that we see in the way that it helps you and that it's easier to understand. Hopefully, at least we try. So Blugipedia is one of those projects that are equally important, like finishing the AmpX for me in the nearby future, because the moment when this thing will be released, I guess my phone will ring too many hours a day, and that is not good. Not because I don't want to talk to you guys, which is all good, but it's not effective. I would spend and tell the same story hundreds of times, which I have experienced with AMP1 already. What is the lifespan on the nanotube? It's one of those questions that I heard at least 1,000 times over the last 10 years. And all that stuff should be easily accessible with a good video, text, so everybody can understand it. I will talk about it on the live streams, Academy of Tone, of course. But I know how much communication needs to be done on complex products. So looking into the future, I know shit is coming. And I'm prepared for that because I've been there. Yeah, and then I said it before, hopefully I get this guitar project going one day as well, because I'm really happy about that. And I'm not saying Fender doesn't make great guitars, but I like these better. And I could simply stop doing this project, because it's like I have mine, you know, after 46 guitars, I have mine, I'm happy, and I have the best spare guitar I ever had, even better than my other original parts caster. But I believe this would be worth doing, because I could make people happy with that. And I think I know Strats a bit. Okie doke. We had to do... What's going on in the chat? Will one control be available in the UK? Yes, Andy, we are working on the mass production of this, because these are kind of homemade ones. And as soon as we have mass productions, we will ship internationally. It's going on. Yeah, Julian is making funny moves, because he is kind of leading that project. Yeah, we are working on it. Martial says communication is the key. Blugipedia is very welcome. I think in general communication is the key, and that's so important, because what's getting lost in communication is causing frustration and trouble for both sides. And let's try to get this improved as good as possible. Let's see. It's big for me. Big point. Very, very important. I get a comment that in Brazil your products are expensive too much for normal human being. I don't know, but I know we have distribution in Brazil. I know that the import taxes are a nightmare. So I don't think that somebody is getting super rich besides your state. But hey, I'm not the expert here. I just know, yeah, we cannot make things cheaper because then we go bankrupt. So we have to have our international sales prices, which are very, very friendly, so other people still can make money. And it's not making us rich because we are not rich. On the other hand, yeah, certain countries are more expensive. Just try and see the solution. I don't know. Can I buy number 46? Nope. I keep that one. And there's 2 more in the office. When I get 47, I will decide which one I can let go next week. Okay, one control is awesome. Nice comment. AmpX moment of release will be dawn of the new guitar age. Wow. Yeah, it's a big thing. It's a real big thing for us. And it will be a big thing for you guys too. I was talking about the experience being on stage with nearly nothing anymore. That's something you have to learn emotionally coming from a full stack or half stack or whatever. But it's also freeing you up in a way. So good things are in the air to come. We're doing our best, and just to sum it up, this was episode 200. When I did episode 1, I thought, yeah, 50, 70 is a big number. And now we are having episode 200. And it doesn't stop. Good thing is, I still have so many ideas of things that we want to do to keep the Academy of Tone fresh and alive. I guess next week Ali Neander is coming. We are doing some progressive live recordings here in front of you guys. I probably have to learn the song because it's deep shit. Story next week. But anyway, that's on the list. And then I was talking about the speakers episode, and there's more to come. So episode 200 is a big thing, and 10 years Bluguitar is a big thing. Over the year, we will see things that are very exciting about 10 years of Bluguitar. I was talking with Valeska this morning, and she has also great ideas. She's Mrs. Marketing, and why not? If she comes up with great ideas, let's realize those as well. Okay, guys, thanks for joining in. Thanks for listening to my long journey over the last 10 years. There's so many more little details I could tell and stories and things, but I think it might gives you a feeling or a little insight in how Bluguitar things are and how they develop and what's actually going on behind the scenes. And being 10 years there without being bankrupt is also not too bad. success will follow, but this is already success. You know what I mean? It's not financial success. Just where, at least if I would be not there tomorrow, I would say it was worth it. Okay? 10 years, what a journey, what a ride. Yeah. Okay, see you guys next week, same place, same time. All the best. Cheers.